Okay, thank you guys for being on, or if you're listening to the recording later. I want this to kind of be a laid back webinar. I'll do some talking, but I want y'all to be able to ask questions. And I think there was a question or two in the group that I'll address as well. But this is really your time to dig in and pick my brain, or if I don't, another coach may log on too. I think Julie was going to try to pop on, but anyway, just pick our brains. And oh, and Aaron's on. Cool. Aaron, is your mic working okay? Can you hear me? Hello? No. Okay. Anyway, so let's start with some if y'all are logging on, and if you're not talking right now, like if you want to pop in and ask a question and interrupt me, feel free. Just but go ahead and mute if you're just listening right now. All right, so let's start first with just a few shout outs, because there's Aaron. You know, a lot of you obviously are in Find That Fire because you're newer coaches, and there's a lot of awesome stuff going on. And you know, I posted this in one of the groups today. I don't remember which one. I have so many right now. But, you know, it's very easy sometimes, like you hear a few no's and you can feel like pulled down or just feel slow in the beginning. And we all have those days. But that's normal. But we have to remember to focus on the positive that's going on. Did you get up and did you do what you said you were going to do that day and get your power hour done? Did you get your personal development in? Did you plant some seeds? I mean, really, you've got to change your mindset from when I hear no of that being a disappointment to you, to, you know what, at least I threw the invite out there and it's in the open and they know, and they'll come back. I mean, so many times, I said this on the Dream Big webinar the other night, that I'll invite and it may take 2 or 3 months, sometimes longer, for people to come back. But it's important that's why we get invites out regularly and we're constantly building relationships. So you're adding value to their life and you're planting those seeds. And I know as a new coach, you probably feel like, oh, I'm tired of planting these dadgum seeds, you know, but just keep believing, because I can guarantee you, Aaron will tell you people have come back. Julie, if she's on here, yeah, Julie. Julie's been a coach for what, a little over a year now. And I mean, she's even said that recently, that you know, she's really starting to see that now that she's hit her year mark, that momentum's picking up and those seeds planted are coming back, and people from who've just been watching her are noticing because she's been consistent on Facebook. So some shout outs. I kind of started chasing a squirrel there, sorry. And she is posting on Facebook a lot, which, you know, that is what I was talking about, like what that Julie's doing. You know, being consistent and being present on Facebook is so important. You know, trying to aim to post like 3 times a day is a good starting place. And doesn't need to be, you know, all about fitness. Just posting about you, things that you know people are going to enjoy seeing in your life. You know, people love seeing pictures of my kids and funny things they do. Like today, if you saw my post, they got into the nail polish and seriously got it all over their hands and feet. And they love that. But at the same time, I've got some fitness stuff in there, or shout outs from my team that they're seeing. So if they visit my wall, they're going to see that fitness is a part of my life and I'm an everyday mom, just like, you know, many of them who are watching me. Jeannie, she's doing good, getting in, you know, taking the time for her business, even though she's had an insane week, you know, and millions of things going on in life, and it's easy to just let the business fall to the side. And you have to learn to treat it like a job. You know, you may not have to put as much time in every day as you did the day before, but just be sure to try to do the basics every day, just like you would do if you were showing up for work. And hang on, I had another shout out. I just got to find it. Rhonda, she got her first Shakeology customer, and Jennifer sent out some coach invites this week. And she got some responses back. Someone else had a coach invite. Who was that? Do y'all know real quick? I got to find it. Getting too many notifications popping up. Um, okay, maybe that was only one. But anyway, stepping out of your comfort zone and getting those coach invites out, I know as a new coach that is intimidating because you're like, nobody knows what I'm doing or they haven't been a challenger yet. And again, sometimes it's planting that seed. And I will say I struggled in the beginning a lot because I didn't, I wasn't brave enough to send coach invites. And it took me several months to get to Emerald. Okay, so I'll have some notes I'll go over, and then you guys can pop in and answer questions, and I'll also look in the group to see if there's questions to answer. But first of all, like I said, setting a time aside every day to dedicate to your business. You can treat it like a business or you can treat it like a hobby. So what you put into it is what you're going to get out, obviously. If you take the time every single day, 30 minutes to an hour to get the basics done, the consistency and the compound effect, if you're reading that book, will kick in. I promise you, I'm living proof of that. Julie and Aaron, they're living proof of that. And it doesn't have to be super time consuming. Set your timer if you need to and really focus. Use your activity tracker as a way to help you stay on track. If it's really easy to get on Facebook and start chasing squirrels and going through the news feed. And I'll be honest with you, I don't look at my news feed very much unless I'm just trying to get my mind running and find some new contacts or reach out to some people. But other than that, I don't know what's going on unless I am actively trying to get to know a specific person. Then I'll go to their page and see what's going on in their life. Other than that, I'm not just scanning the news feed, seeing what's going on Facebook. When I'm on Facebook, it's very intentional what I'm doing on there. I'm private messaging people, and I'm building relationships, and I'm looking for new people to reach out to. Julie and Aaron, how do you guys try to stay on track during your power hours? What are some things that help you?
For me, I haven't really been using the bat lately, but I know I have to invite first. So I kind of don't look at my notifications, and I just go in my messages and I either follow up with a couple people that I've invited, or I'll look and see who's online. Maybe just, chat with a couple people, inform them, and then maybe follow up a little later with an invite. So I try and get that go for no, eat that frog out of the way first, and then go through and do, my challenge groups and looking through my notifications and all that stuff. So one thing I've done is and Kara showed this on the Dream Big webinar, but I've put like all my challenge groups and all the Find That Fire and whatever as my favorites in the group. So they're all at the top at the left side of the Facebook, on the top of the left.
Yeah.
So that I can just hit each one of those without even looking at my notifications first.
Yeah. Yeah, I do the same thing. I don't pay a lot of attention to my notifications. I'll look at maybe the first few, or if I saw something pop up on my phone, I'm like, where was that? I can see it real quick. But because I get so many, like mostly I'll go back to a post to see who's engaging on one of my posts on my page, or I'll go specifically into the groups, and look there and scan it. But yeah, getting the part out of the way first that is going to grow your business. I mentioned this on the webinar the other night, that 80% of our time really should be building new relationships and getting those invites out and following up, returning your messages. That's what needs to be focused on first. Aaron, what about for you?
This is an area I've actually really struggled in, because I did use Facebook as a very just fun social thing beforehand, and was used to checking it very regularly just for the fun of it. And so it's been really challenging for me to kind of turn that off, and I try and sit down before I actually dive into work and make a list of the things that I want to do. before I like open my laptop or anything. I've also done some of the things that you'll start to hear probably as you go along, like putting your phone away and or turning it on silent or whatever, because the notifications will pop up, and I'm still too much of a creature of habit and wanting to see what's going on or something, which becomes ridiculous with the groups, and especially kind of like what you're saying with scrolling. It's kind of funny because you only have certain people that are showing up in your newsfeed, and the longer you work on Facebook, the more you realize that it's only the people that you interacted with recently, and it's kind of silly that like you would still be addicted to that. I am though, so I have to really watch. Like I have to be really careful when I'm working to really work, and if I'm gonna play, okay, play or whatever, but it's hard. I mean, I think what you have to do is start operating with that mentality that you're talking about, that, okay, this is for a business, like you can play a little bit on occasion when you decide you're going to, but you have to like mentally think about, what your business might look like in a year or something. And you have to act like you're that kind of business owner. In other words, you don't play around with some silly notification here and there, or get like on bunny trails, because that's not how you would want to act in a year as a business owner. I don't know if that makes sense, but you got to think ahead, I guess, and not let yourself on little bunny trails that aren't important. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think too, having the mindset of, whose life can I add value to today, whether it be through your own Facebook post or checking in with somebody and seeing how they're doing. Somebody just had a baby. In fact, I mark that on my calendar. Like if I know somebody is having a baby or moving or starting a new job, I'm going to mark it on my calendar. That way, when I sit down to work that day, I pull up my calendar and I will remember, oh, I need to check in with so-and-so, see how they're doing. And that goes a long way with people, that you would take the time and that you would write it down, and remember that they have something important going on in their life. All right. So, whenever your power hour is going to be, just make sure you have a time set. I know sometimes it's not a perfect world. Many of us have kids and, it gets interrupted, but I try my best to have my power hour in the morning. Ashlyn is an early riser, so she gets her juice, cereal, and Super Y, and she just, she's happy. And I get to work for about an hour and a half, and then whenever she's finally fed up, being patient, then I have to shut it down. But I get the vitals done first thing in the morning for myself. Any questions about any of that? How are you guys doing with setting a power hour? Anybody want to share when they do it? Struggles?
Yeah, I usually do it at nap time.
Who does?
Diane, right here. At nap time when my daughter's sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah, and I check in at nap time, or I have a phone call usually at nap time. It's a very short nap for me now. Ashlyn doesn't nap much. But yeah, and whenever, you know that you're going to have a focused, quiet time. What about you, Megan?
I haven't really been able to get that power hour, that time scheduled, because my older one, she gets on the bus for school at 6:30, which her last day is tomorrow. And then the other one, that's usually my time to get my workout on, because if I don't get it in then, it's hard to get it in the rest of the day. And now my little one is off of school, so now she's home just all the time, and we're playing Pirates or whatever. And my husband's he's not always home. His schedule is really weird, so it's not, I don't have a consistent time that I might be able to get it done. So I think I posted that I'm finishing my last 2 classes for my degree. So
yeah, it's in whenever there's a moment. Is your husband a flight instructor right now?
No, he finished flight school, but his NSS score wasn't high enough.
Okay.
So this has been going on since November. We're just kind of waiting to see what's going on. He has his redesignation board next month. So there's been a lot of just stress. And I mean, we're okay, because there's a possibility we'll get out. they might just not need them anymore, but
Just
which is fine.
back and forth and not knowing.
Yeah, we're just at a point where we just need to know, and he's supportive of what we're doing, what I'm doing. However, I think he's kind of impatient with it. He just wants it to be like going great right now. And
yeah, well, you have a strong out of the gate. I mean, you're doing great,
Yeah.
And I think like sometimes Greg would grumble in the beginning if I'm like, hey, listen to this story. I'd want him to listen to some of our team calls or a story of another coach. And sometimes he's like, why do I want to hear this? But I think, sometimes hearing a little bit of that helped him. And, he talked about when he went to Summit and stuff like that, that's helped. But, it just takes time and explaining what this can be. All right. So, and it's very easy to overcomplicate the business, and there's so much training going on, and lots of groups, and it can feel very overwhelming. But and I posted that funny video like a week or so ago of that guy who was talking about just there's Coach Basics, and his stuff is really cool. Or I don't remember. I can't. I'm not funny like him. But anyway, it was just a matter of just picking something and just going for it, just diving in. Don't, be chasing a lot of squirrels. And there is a ton of information, but the good thing is the information's there. You don't have to know all the answers right now. For me, sometimes because I'm in some groups with some leaders, and sometimes they're posting stuff they're doing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, do I need to be doing that? Do I need to be doing this? And I'm like stressing out, like, I'm not ready for that. I don't have time to do this. And so I'll just, I'll write it down, a to-do list, and focus on one of those things. Or I'll say, this month, my goal was to kind of learn a little bit about Pinterest. You don't need to be worrying about that right now. But that was a point, I was at a point where I wanted to kind of look at that. And I just hadn't had time to dive into it. So I took, one thing this month to grow. It doesn't have to be everything at once. So for you right now, focusing on Facebook and building your profile and adding new contacts is the most important thing you can be doing at this point in your business. All right, inviting. So that one, it's sometimes scary in the beginning to get those invites out, but I think just leading with your heart and remembering that you can add value to someone's life. And when we are too afraid to send an invite out, you're really holding their future captive. And I mean, there's a ton of coaches out there, and if we don't invite them, someone else probably will at some point. There was a question relating to this. Where is it? I think the question was about how do you invite and not feel like, I think Diane asked this one, you're not just inviting to because you think they need to lose weight. I mean, for me personally, I don't invite just people who need to lose weight. It's just everybody in general I'll invite, because everybody needs fitness. Everybody needs to be healthy. Just because you don't have any pounds to lose doesn't mean that you're perfectly fit either. I'm looking more for a need of not necessarily weight loss, but just, they need more energy or just something positive to focus on in their life. And a lot of times I'll present it as something fun they would enjoy doing for me. I mean, I'm more of a sapphire. You'll learn about in the gyms later on, but things are supposed to be fun. That's something I'm motivated by. So sometimes I present it that way. Or if I present it like, I know you're a busy mom like me, and it's hard to have time for yourself. And this is something that's really given me a chance to have some me time that I've enjoyed doing and just made me feel better. I don't know. Aaron or Julie, do y'all have any good suggestions on that fear? Oh, hang on. Y'all go ahead and talk. I'm going to go get my dog. See what she's doing.
I'm just going to say, don't assume anything. Don't assume that, when you're projecting it too, just have a good intentions about, like kind of what Kristen was saying, everyone needs to be healthy, and it's not like, even if I've lost, I'm at a point where I've lost all my baby weight from my last child, and I'm in a good place, but my journey's not over, because I still have to work out and I still have to eat right. And I think you just kind of, when you have that mentality and you're kind of, I like to ask people to join me in that journey too. Like, just come alongside. We're kind of like Kristen was saying, we're having fun groups, you know, everyone's got to do this on some level. I mean, it's a lifelong journey to be healthy and to lead our families in our health. And so, I don't know. I just, too many times I want to project on people or what I think they will want or what I think they will say, and I'm wrong. And so that's eventually why the next step after you're asking, you know, if they're interested in doing a challenge is figuring out their need, because sometimes it's completely different than what you think it is. I've had that one a few times and I'm just caught off guard. I'm like, I haven't talked to somebody in a while. They actually want to gain weight or they want to be more toned instead of lose weight. And I just kind of automatically assume maybe that they would want to lose weight. But I mean, I haven't seen them in person in a long time, you know, and Facebook doesn't kind of hides. You just never know where somebody is or what their intentions might be. So I don't know, just don't project.
Yeah. And I think too, what was I going to say? You know, if they do say no, or, you know, I've never had anybody come back to me to where I felt like that's what they perceived. But because I've generally, I mean, I don't just send cold invites if it's somebody that I haven't talked to in a while or I don't know. So I'm really building a relationship first. So I feel like that credibility and trust is there first before I send the invite. So I don't think they're perceiving me that way. But honestly, if they did think that, I would think really it's just them not being ready yet. And it's their own fears holding them back. And when they're ready and they see that you genuinely care and that you're coming back to them and just seeing how they're doing, they'll come on board eventually when you've built more of that trust up. Julie, do you have anything to add to that?
I was just going to say, you never know until you ask.
Mm-hmm.
And I love what's it, Tommy Migrant in Summer always says, like, don't hold someone else's future in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah, I think that to myself all the time. Like anytime I'm, you know, nervous about sending an invite or, you know, coach invites and stuff, I'm like, you know what? It doesn't hurt just to ask them. All they can do is say no. And it really is like, I'm so excited about coaching and what we're doing as a team and how it's changed my life that I'm kind of like, you know what, let's do this thing. And if they don't want to take the gift, you know, of joining us because it's really awesome, then, you know, it's on them and they have that decision to make, but they can come back anytime. If I mean, I know for me personally, if nobody had asked me to coach or nobody had asked me to do a P90X challenge, I wouldn't have done it. I don't think I would have just contacted someone and been like, hey, can I join your challenge? You know, because I probably would have thought, oh, what is this? You know? But because someone reached out and asked me, I said yes. I didn't say yes the first time, you know. Erin didn't say yes the first time at all. She said, I'm okay, I can do my own thing. And Julie did several 10-day challenges with me. So, you know, we all took our time. And when we were ready, then we came on board. So you have to remember that when you send those invites. I'm sure some of you, you know, it took you a while to come on board as a coach or do a challenge. I know Wendy did with me. Yeah. So just keep that in mind, you know, and for us, you know, we're like, everybody should join our challenge group now, you know, because we're coaches and it's on our mind all the time. And why aren't these people responding to us? But it's not necessarily on their mind all the time. All right.
I was going to say, don't dwell on the no's too much. You know, yeah, they said no now, but keep following up, you know, in a little bit. They'll come back. And that don't take it personally. It's not like they're saying, no, I don't want to be your friend, or I don't like you, stop talking to me. They're just not ready yet.
Yeah. And I mean, I lead with my fear all the time. If I feel like someone's read my invite and they're ignoring me, and sometimes they're not necessarily ignoring you on purpose, they just forgot. But I will it always works when I leave with my fear and say, hey, I'm really hope I'm not bugging you, but did you see my message the other day? I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. And they always respond when I say that. I had a few of those I sent out today regarding coaching. If people, like, let's say you're inviting to a 60-day challenge and, cost seems to be something that a lot of people worry about, and you'll get pushback. I don't know, it's a lot of money to spend. Help break it down for them. First of all, always acknowledge what they're saying and their concerns, because, I know it's a big commitment for most people to spend $200 or $129 a month on Shakeology. But when we break it down for them, it's really $4 a day for a meal. It's not that bad. And really everything they're getting in that group, when they ask the price, I don't just say, okay, it's $205. I love the analogy that Jessica Rodriguez taught us of wrap it like an Oreo cookie. Say, all right, so the cost of the challenge includes your program, a month of Shakeology, a nutrition and fitness guide, a meal plan for $205, and then you get the private group accountability and one-on-one coaching with me where we're going to work together on your goals and keep you going. So when you wrap it up like that, then it really gives them an idea of what they're truly getting with that. And I always let them know, if they're like, I just don't know, I'll ask them to start with just 30 days. And if in 30 days they're not happy and they didn't see results that they wanted, then they can get their money back. Most of the time for me, people don't send it back because they really do enjoy it. But they like to know that there's that guarantee there, because if, they don't like Shakeology or whatever, they're not just out a bunch of money. Any questions about any of that?
For the 10-day challenges, is it just we have to order the pack, like the individual packets, and send them? Okay.
Yeah, and what I'm doing now for the 60 days, and you may know this, but like if they do the 60-day, they are going to get to do the 10-day with me first for free. So like that's another thing when I'm inviting, I'm leading with the 60-day invites. And saying the cool thing is with 60 days, you'll get the 10-day for free that normally costs $55. So a lot of times they're like, oh, well, heck, I'll get a free challenge in there. So really they're working with you more than 60 days. Mm-hmm. But if they still, aren't ready for the 60-day commitment, then we'll just start with 10 days. So you still have something to fall back on. So yes, $55. I mail it in a flat rate box, the small ones. And I didn't know this at first as a coach, but in case y'all need to know this, you can print those labels off from your computer and put them in your mailbox. So you don't even have to go to the post office. I was wasting time in the beginning going to the post office, and I'm like, oh, genius.
It's cheaper too.
Yeah.
To mail them that way, to print them off, yeah.
Yep, it is a little bit cheaper. All right, the only other thing before we get off here, did anybody have any more questions, or were there any more questions that popped up in the group real quick? Let me see.
I had one question. Is there any training for, like, as far as taxes? That was my husband was wondering.
Julie or Aaron, do y'all remember the name of that book by chance? I can find out if y'all don't.
Lower Your Taxes Big Time. I can post it.
Okay. Yeah.
My husband read it and he said it really didn't apply to me that much because last year I really didn't make that much money. But he said probably this year it will make a difference when we do the taxes for, next April.
Okay.
But it's definitely a good one to have. And there's a webinar about that.
Okay. There is. I might be able to find that on Summer's site somewhere. I'll look for it.
You can get also, I don't know if this applies, but I've done independent work before, and you can get a 1099 and make quarterly payments. And then if you overpay, you'll get it back at the end of the year. So you just kind of have to estimate and make those payments quarterly.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't ever done quarterly payments, but I think this will be my first year that I'm going to owe taxes. And so from what my accountant has told me, then next year I'm going to start having to do quarterly. I'm not an accountant. Don't ask my advice, but I'm really bad with numbers. That's why I got an accountant this year, because I was like, we need help. So, yeah, and we'll find that webinar so you guys can learn, and also just learn about different things that you could write off. Lots of things you can be tracking. Your shipping, when you order those 10-day packets, and there's, varying opinions on the Shakeology and your clothing, but just watch the webinar and you can learn more. But I write off part of my cell phone bill on my internet, because mostly what I'm doing on my phone and internet is business related. Okay, so last thing I really wanted to go over is throwing out excuses. And that was one of our topics this week, because I'm telling you, we can always find excuses to hold us back, and whether it be fear, whether it be time, and I don't know what some other excuses that we've had, feeling like you're salesy, and just learning to overcome those things. And really a lot of what helps us overcome that is personal development. And I didn't take that real seriously in the beginning as a new coach. I didn't understand the value of it, but it has truly been a huge part of my growth and belief, and what has kept me going as a coach through the hard times. Most of you are probably doing better than I did in the beginning, but it took me 6 months to make $300. And that's a long time to be working. What was I making? $1.50 an hour or something? I don't know. But I wasn't consistent enough, and I wasn't doing my personal development. And, but finally, once that clicked, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. And my vision grew. Lindsay Matway, she's the top coach this year. And she was a bartender before she was a coach. She was a high school dropout. Her parents were alcoholics. She had, most people would think she wouldn't be able to make it, right? But she made that decision that she was going to throw out her excuses and grow this business. And the girl is amazing. She had, I think $400,000. If you listened to her call before, she did one at the beginning of the year, but she had $400,000 in debt from medical bills because her daughter was so sick. And she's been able to pay all that off and much more now. So took her a little bit of time, but maybe how many years? Do you know, Julie, from her story? Remember how long she's been a coach? I don't remember.
I know it's 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, really, that's not that long. That's a short amount of time.
I love her team name, Bombshell Dynasty.
I know.
I'm like, why did I think of a name like that?
Yeah, she's awesome. So, and she was a shy person. She was not a outgoing, social, talkative person. She's very, what's the word when you're in your shell?
Introvert.
Thank you. She was an introvert. And she's done it, and she learned how to step out of her comfort zone and throw out those excuses because she wanted something better for her life and her family. All right. Any other questions before we jump off here? I think so. Ask away. Okay. Well, thank you all for plugging in. I know, it takes a little bit extra time to get through the training, and some days are longer than others, but I promise you, learning to be a sponge and soak up every little bit of knowledge you can is going to help you grow as a coach and make you a better coach. And don't be afraid to ask questions. That's how we learn. I ask questions all the time. I still message Summer and ask for her opinion. And I've been doing it for 2.5 years. Sometimes you just need to hear someone else's viewpoint on things too. How would you handle this? And ask in our Dream Big page. A lot of people do that. They need help with how to respond to something. Okay, so Zoom is about to kick us off here. So I'll let you guys go. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.